Alright everybody, grand final time! HeroesHype Premier Series. We've actually waited for a little bit because as it turned out, our first game that we were supposed to cast today, which is the third place decider, didn't take place since apparently nothing left didn't show up, or nothing changed, sorry, these days. But we're going still into the grand final where we have Granit Gaming against Washed France, so that's our first match of the day, and also it's going to be the only one. But it's the conclusion of the tournament and a best of 3 series where Granit Gaming can claim another victory unless Washed France has really improved up to the point where they can take down the tough opponent in blue here today. Dragonshire is our first map, and yeah, I'm excited for this one because Washed France, I mean, again, Granit Gaming for me personally is still a favorite here. No doubts about it. Yes, they changed 2 of their players compared to last season. They have Chris playing now for them, and they also have Copenhagen on the off lane. Svamkrota and Fury, they both left, but Washed France had also, or Washed Up back then, had a lot of changes too. And the new team, Washed France, has meshed together pretty well over the last few weeks. I just don't know if they're really in a position yet where they can already contest Granit Gaming. But we're gonna find that out pretty quickly. We're already seeing Chromie being banned out here on Dragonshire. Top lane is something that interests me slightly. I would expect that we're going to see a Chen ban eventually from one of the 2 teams, if not a pick. And I could also, yeah, well, there's Chen. I could also see a bit of a focus on Rexa here towards the top side, because Rexa in a solo lane is still pretty strong. So there's definitely good arguments to be made for addressing him as well. Outside of that, we're obviously still having a couple of old favorites that could definitely be picked or banned here. Vala these days, incredibly powerful, very popular too, oftentimes banned out against Granit Gaming since they have Tai and also Chris, so both of them love to play on the hero. And well, there's the Malfurion ban on the other hand, so Malfurion banned out. And well, with heading these days going a little bit more in Rhaegar, I could totally see them heading into an early Rhaegar pick, always assuming that Washed France doesn't take that away. Rhaegar's another good hero for the map because you have a lot of camps where Rhaegar with a lightning shield and the wolf bite can really help out in getting those camps quickly and therefore reduce the time that you have to invest to get those camps. There's the Rexa ban, there we have it. As I said, Chen and Rexa both banned out, which leaves us with choices like Urel, Blaze, Leo and a few others. And there's our Vala pick. As mentioned before, not banned by Washed France this time, and therefore they pick it first. Whereas now, Granit Gaming, they can head into their ETC, for example, which is an early pick that they really favor since it allows them flexibility in the draft. You pick ETC early, and then you can decide if you want to play him in the main tank position or in the offlane position, depending on if you need a stage dive or not. And other factors, of course, as well. So would not shock me to see that. There's ETC, and Zeratul gets picked for Tai. Okay, so he finally gets to play Zeratul again. Had actually already won game on Zeratul in this tournament, and they were successful with it, even though the opponent did a great job trying to lock him down as much as they could. So yeah, with that said, what are we having on the other side? Is it going to be a double support setup with Tacita also taken, or are we going to see Nick on Vala with a single support now? There's the Rhaegar pick and Johanna. And that Rhaegar pick, as I said before, is pretty much also taking a hero away from Granit Gaming, because these days Heading is playing a lot of Rhaegar, like a lot. So that's a really nice choice on the side of Washed France from a draft perspective. And especially Johanna can also help a lot here with a well-timed Blessed Shield against Zeratul, for example. Even the blind could work out there once he makes his engage. We've actually seen Tai also with Wormhole played on level 7, since other teams have mostly moved over into Seeker of the Dark. There's the Zarya ban, so already trying to eliminate the extra shields for Vala, despite the fact that Tacita is still open. But what are we going to get in terms of bans for Washed France now? Could ban another support. You have Malfurion banned out, Rhaegar's taken, could ban another support. Tyrande still works really well with ETC. Of course, the hero has been a bit nerfed since the level 7 got switched to the level 16. Still a great hero. Oh, Abathar, good point. Abathar together with Zeratul, definitely a bank. So it makes a lot of sense to ban Abathar out as well, if you don't want to deal with the Zeratul Abathar composition that jumps onto Vala and tries to eliminate her within half a second. So that's a good choice, which still leaves Tyrande open as an option for Granit Gaming, so that they can get the stuns in with ETC, with Tyrande, and then also help Zeratul to get the kill there. I still need a bit of range damage. There's Tyrande, there's Leo. And what are we gonna get on the range department? Interestingly enough, Lauba is the one who currently doesn't have a hero. I assume they're gonna use the swap round in order to correct that and put him onto ETC. But what's the range damage? What are they gonna go for here? Li Ming still open. That would be one option that they could definitely play. I mean, there's definitely quite a lot still. If you want to go for full-on auto-attacker, you could go straight into Jimmy. But let's look at Washed France first and what they are prioritizing in this grand final match. And it's the Bird, and we have Blaze. So a really nice setup for them with the solo support on Vala and on Falstad. Falstad, of course, in this game is now the option also to just like fly top and help out Blaze. Maybe set a kill up. The global definitely going to be useful for them. Late game even more so. Once that the map is opened up and the forts are destroyed. But the last pick for Granit Gaming, what are we gonna have as the blue team is rounding up the draft for the first map? It is Sylvanas! Ladies and gentlemen, game number 1, Dragonshire between Granit Gaming and Washed France, the best of 3 series here at the grand final of the HeroesHype Premier Series Qualification Tournament number 3. Game number 1, Dragonshire is the map, and Granit Gaming on the left side with Henning on Tyrande, Chris on Sylvanas. We're having Ty on Zeratul as expected, and Copenhagen on Leoric with Lauba on ETC. Over to the right side of the map, though, we're currently looking at Hazops on Falstad for Washed France. We're seeing Nick on Vala, Dequaza on Blaze, and Banana H on Rega with Masquerade on Johanna. Time to shine, everybody. And, well, this should be a very interesting game. I would still say that Granit Gaming is the favorite heading into the series, but as I mentioned before, there is a good chance that Washed Up is going to make their life difficult. And the red team is starting to get stronger and stronger every week. Arrow build, actually, for Nick. Okay. They have a fair amount of wave clear already, so they don't necessarily need any spec into the multi-shot. Considering that they are playing Boomerang on Hanzo Ops, very likely that we have Blaze, Johanna, and Draga with that mix. So they definitely have a lot to offer. Consume Vitality is also in for the level 1 on Leo. And in addition to that, we're now having the Shadow Hunter for Tai. And it is going to make the top lane really annoying, because Dequaza, as you can see, is already playing this incredibly safe, just sitting on his little snowflake and taking it easy, because he knows that there is a chance for Zeratul to rotate towards the top and then trying to make a play. But Tai is going to have his eyes on Vala and the Bird. I mean, those two, they are the juicy targets that he is going to try and deal with. Level 1 for Sylvanas, the Might of the Banshee Queen. Chris is going to try and also push with the Dragon Knight if ever they can catch him here. And also, as we can see, we are having an immediate focus into the objectives. Both sides are actually doing that already. The build for Falstad doesn't come as a surprise either. While in the days of the past, we oftentimes saw an auto-attack focus on Falstad. These days, the focus has shifted very heavily towards Wingman. And honestly, the level 4 talent in particular is really, really flexible. And you can adjust to the situation in the game itself. And the same is a little bit true to some of the later talents. 7 was, and probably always will be, unless changed, going to be the Boomerang. I mean, it's just the best talent for Falstad on that tier. Nothing else is even close. Even after the buffs that Blizzard gave to a couple of those talent traps like Secret Weapon, which is still just nothing compared to Boomerang. So, huge advantage there. And in this case, we're getting the Static Shield, since Zeratul is on the other side, trying to play it around that a little bit more. With level 4 abilities now in, that also gives us the Psionic Strength right there. And, well, we're already having Lauba retreating and the Dragon Knight taken just because of that. Okay, that is actually going to be a really interesting one now. Because that's an early Dragon Knight for Washed France, and that gives them a little bit more momentum in the early game that I expected them to have. Great start for them into this series and this first map. We still have the pressure at the bottom of the map through Masquerade, who is definitely using his wave clear now to put Zeratul in a bit of a pickle. Obviously, the first Dragon Knight isn't really too much scaled yet, and this is a really early one too. I mean, we're talking 2.5 minutes here. So it's not the strongest Dragon Knight in the bunch. They got the wall, and to be absolutely honest, I don't think they're going to get much more. They might be able to get a little bit more at the bottom of the map just with the fire breath, maybe one more turret, but this is already a win for them. Seriously, I mean, this is already them doing a really good job here. Another fire breath comes through, and they pretty much broke down 2 walls with that. For an early Dragon Knight, 2.5 minutes into the game, that is pretty fantastic. That is really good value. Even trying to set something up against the camp at the bottom. Yeah, Chris is moving in. Needs to wave away from this and does. The problem is that Lauba is coming in from behind. Or is at least trying to. The Wolf jumps in, but there's more reinforcements as Blaze is joining the fun. And Leoric isn't there yet, so they give up the camp. Don't go for it, but they still have the early level 7. And Leoric towards the top side is now pushing them out again. Again, the wormhole, by the way, for a tie. So one of the players that doesn't go for Seeker in the dark. Multi-shot build is this time not part of Vala's concept. We have a full focus into the arrows, and that includes the repeating arrow. And I'm actually amazed. Look at Hanzo Ops. This is the build that I've occasionally talked about, where you can deviate away from Boomerang, even though we see it extremely rarely. They're charged up at this point. With the synergy on the static shield, that makes Falstad a lot safer against Zeratul. We very, very rarely see that build. Vala goes down, just as we have that. Normally it's still all about the Boomerang. I guess the reason why they this time left it is because they already have this much wave clear and they already have an offlaner. So Hanzo doesn't have to fly into that position, and he's probably afraid of Zeratul taking him down. And the synergy between the static shield and the charged up here is definitely going to help him a little bit. Very rare that we're going to see a full focus into the Lightning Rod. I think it was at the beginning of 2019, maybe already at the end of 2018, when we saw that build occasionally emerge. It was maybe part of the meta for like, I want to say 2-3 weeks, and then the focus shifted back into a Boomerang very, very quickly. But against this much of a heavy melee assassin play with Zeratul, Hanzo seems to attempt to try and play a little bit safer. It's not really a bad approach. I want to see if it works out for him though. Because you sacrifice a lot with it. If you don't go for Boomerang, it means that you have a very hard time getting value on the wave clear, and this is diminishing the effect that your global is gonna have. Hanzo, ooh, yeah, it goes down regardless. It's one of the biggest things. Ooh, that was a nice attempt, but the iron skin is there. It's one of the biggest things with Falstad that a lot of people that play on the lower level just neglect, is that a lot of the value that he gets is through his global abilities. I mean, if you just look for an auto attacker, for example, you would look for a different hero. But if you're going for the global mobility and also the value there, you want to have the additional wave clear that comes with Boomerang, that burst damage that can take a minion wave down pretty quickly. Talking about taking things down, Blaze taken down all the way at the top as they're fighting for the shrine. At the bottom lane you see a similar situation. So Hanzo needs to find different value. He is not going to be able to fill that spot as much as he would with the traditional level 7 talent, but he is going to be a little bit safer against Zeratul, especially in one-on-ones. The main question is just simply, is that going to make up for it? Can already tell that with sheer auto attacks alone, he is going to have a little bit more trouble up at the top. But level 10 abilities are now in for both sides, and we said from the get-go that the pick of Zeratul is going to make it difficult for the backliners. That does not only mean Falstad, by the way. I mean, Nick in particular has been attacked previously, so that's exactly what we're having right now. Where level 10 abilities are in, that always changes the name of the game a little bit. We're having for ETC the stage dive, so he can mirror Falstad movements if there is ever a full focus onto the global. Talking about focus, Ty getting focused here for just a second. Vala coming in with a strafe, and that might be the end of Ty. What a fantastic entomb. Unbelievable. Kopenhagen just saving Ty's ass right there. Nicely done. Really nicely done. A fantastic entomb that just cut the path of retreat, or well, it cut the pursuers off completely, and therefore Zeratul could escape. Nicely done. I really like that. Well, but with that said, we have 3 kills against 0 in this game. Granit Gaming might not have a massive lead in experience, but they are slightly ahead, and thanks to that kill advantage, they are currently looking fairly solid. They're losing the bottom shrine again, as Johanna has to make a move there. But, well, in the meantime, let's have a look at the damage output. Falstad, yeah, it's another problem if you're not going into Boomerang. You have trouble getting solid numbers out there. 8,000 damage already leaves him pretty low at this point. But then again, we're early in the game, and if you compare it to the opponent's team, is not too far behind. But he is definitely far behind Vala, which is to be expected, especially with Strafe being the talent. On the siege damage, on the other hand, not too bad for the bird. but Vala with 19,000 taking the top numbers in the game. 14,000 for Zeratul, not too bad for him either, but just look at this push at the top. With Chris now disabling the structures, this is a fantastic setup to get some value. Zeratul still running away, escaping here. Lauba is eating some damage, 14 stacks by now. Camp at the bot lane is starting to get some value too. They get the fort top side. Problem is that this fort at the bottom of the map might fall as well, and the entire value that you got at the top has therefore now more or less been negated. Lauba slides away. That's a little bit of a cautious game here at the beginning, and you can't blame them. It's the grand final. You want to take this. You want to get the prize money, you want to get the points for the ranking too. That's not going to be easy at all. But yeah, fort's eliminated, and now Sylvanas finds herself at the bottom on guard duty against the two camps that have been claimed previously. Build continues for Falsen in just a second. Could totally see him speccing a little more heavier into the mage style here, as we're already seeing the Earth Shield for Rhaegar. Traditional talent for him. And there we go. Go straight into the Thunder Strikes. Full-on Lightning Rod build. Pretty incredible. Definitely is going to enhance his one-on-one powers. But as I said before, it diminishes a lot of the traditional value that he has in the game. So the question is Hanzo going to be able to get enough out of it? They're already trying. Lightning damage is coming in. He's definitely zipping the numbers up. But here's an attempt at going for the Dragon Knight. Well, not quite. Zeratul doesn't want to expose himself too much here. And the top has already been reclaimed. Leo has by now switched down to the bottom of the map. And is starting to try and push that through. And the mid lane. We're currently having a bit of a trap set up against Masquerade with some extra damage. Nick is now moving in too. He's not the only one as the bird arrives at the scene. And it's just the entire time an exchange. It's basically Ring Around the Rosie that they're playing here. It's an exchange of shrines that we have. Control over the top, control over the bottom, back and forth over and over again. And it will come down to the question if any of the teams can get a quick kill, for example against ETC. And there we have it. Gets locked down and the cow is eliminated, and that's maybe the momentum that was needed by Washed France to get a second objective in this game. Zeratul moved to the bottom of the map to reclaim one, Falstad flying topside as they're trying to go for it, but ETC is going to be back in 20 seconds. Stage dive is still part of his arsenal, so they could use that if they can just delay the middle long enough. But that might not happen. Blaze is already there and he's moving in. They're going for the interrupt. And they're getting it for now. ETC on 3 seconds. Stun attempt against Leo. Nicely dodged by the Wraith Walk. But the quest is completed for Vala. Siphoning arrow on level 13. ETC is back. He could stage dive in. Could make the move now. There's a lot of pressure as both of the altars are under the control of Washed France. Stage dive, push, stun. Where's the follow-up to run? That doesn't have it. And there's the bunker as a result. They're pushing them back for now, and things are looking a little bit better here for Granit Gaming. It seems like at least for now they will be able to stave off the attempts of Washed France of getting another objective. 32,000 damage by now from Vala, 23,000 from Sylvanas, 20,000 from Zeratul, and Leo is dead. Leo is down as we had two heroes rotate away from the mid lane to go for the shrines. This is getting problematic here. 3 kills against 2. But the momentum is definitely in the hands of Washed France. They might not have level 16 just yet, still slightly behind their opponent, but they're still looking fantastic here in the fast few minutes. Can they continue that trend though? Now we have Celestial Attunement taken. Another great talent here. And after the Moonlit Arrows, there is a lot that she can now bring to the table to keep a single target alive. Level 16 talents are ready for both teams, which means we have the Earthgrass Totem now. There's the Seething Hatred. So the arrow build is now pretty much complete. Afterburner for a little bit of repositioning. Blessed Shield comes in, and ETC dies. Strafe being dropped by Nick, and that's an easy kill there. Ty is trying to make the play into the backline, but he doesn't get the kill in. Dodges another stun. I mean, Ty unleashing God mode, honestly. But they still lost ETC, and Lauba is suffering at the front. And Henning is saving Sylvanas' cute ass as he moves in with a quick heal just as we see the last arrow about to connect. Has ops. Ooh, the bird. Yeah, Dequazo, another jet propulsion. Waiting to see if Zeratul can maybe make a play here. That wasn't the case, though. Sylvanas is coming in. Hanzo is still low, and nicely done by Tai. But the problem is that he might not be able to escape here. Use the wormhole, Tai on the run, ETC jumps in, Tai tries to escape, but he falls. Zeratul down at 4 versus 3 kills in a 5 versus 4 fight that they now have on their hands. They're trying to finally get the kill against Falster, but it's just not possible for them. The Ancestral Healing is coming through. Lauba in trouble again, Strafe comes through. Strafe, but the damage is just not enough to drop in. But they control both of the shrines now, and the bird is flying mid lane. The bird in the middle, and that's another dragon. Well, that's an owl connecting, but it should still be another Dragon Knight. They're playing extremely well. Honestly, Washed France, I said it earlier, is definitely meshing together well, but I didn't really expect them to do this well in game number 1 right away. Good Entomb again. I mean, honestly, perfect Entomb. The Entombs that we're seeing from Copenhagen here are just brilliant. That was the second one where he had just the... I mean, really the discipline to drop the Entomb in time to secure a position for them. Last time he saved Zeratul, this time he saved the camp, so at least they got that and it wasn't stolen away. But they still have to deal with the Dragon Knight as ETC gets his ass kicked quite literally from the Dragon Knight. And they're starting to go straight in for the fort in the middle of the map. That one's down, the one at the top has fallen too, and the Dragon Knight is starting to rotate down to the bottom and attempting to get even more value right here. 50,000 damage by now from Vala. Having 23,000 from Johanna, by the way. 34 for Sylvanas as they're trying to drop the Dragon Knight. And with Tai present, they're going to get that done. Can they drop the bird? Nope. Mighty Gust to the rescue. Yep, Mighty Gust to the rescue. And by now, Washed France has taken the structure. Oh, a mosh pit here would have been the dream. Silence, they got everything and they don't get the kill. What? Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Unbelievable. Can they at least get Blaze? It seems like that's at least 1 kill they're gonna get, but it's insane that after the stuns from Tyrande, the Wailing Arrow from Sylvanas, and the setup that we've seen from the main frontliners, we have not seen more than that 1 kill against Blaze. That is incredible to me. Absolutely insane. But with Sylvanas, they can at least push a little bit. So they're already starting to move straight down to the bottom of the map to attempt to drop a fort here too. Because, let's be honest, Washed France is still in the lead. It's 4 kills against 4 right now. It's a tiny lead, don't get me wrong. Structure lead more so than anything else. But it's definitely there. And we're still having a bit of a wraparound at the bottom. Lauba is coming in, sees Masquerade. Is already getting pushed back. And this is pretty much telling you all you need to know here already. Granit Gaming is more so on the retreat and reacting to whatever Washed France does than the other way around. So they're realizing that they have a bit of a tough game at this. Camp taken now also at the top. Down here, we're having the attack again. Masquerade is sitting at the side. Are they actually going to go for the fight? Yep, they sniffed them out. That's a big one already. Falset is flying in. Leo is sitting at the sidelines, waiting for a good Entomb moment. But the camp is taken. Leo moves in, gets a damage reduction through, could drop the Entomb, and holds it for now. With a Mighty Gust being used against the rest of the team, they were too slow to connect. Nice job by Copenhagen. That was a very tempting moment to drop the Entomb and catch 2, but you always have to consider, what can I get out of it? And he knew he couldn't get any value there. So instead they're waiting for another moment over here, and that might be the perfect moment for it to be used. Strafe is already out though, bunker being used as well. Copenhagen is still holding on to his heroic ability, but now that the bunker is out, he might actually just trap Blaze. They're already moving in, and they're not even using it here. Entomb finally comes out and it hits Vala. They try and get the kill, and they are just flattening Vala like a pancake as Lauba stage dives onto the spot. Banana Age is down to Granit Gaming. Yes, they were struggling for a while, but now they're absolutely murdering their opponent. What a fantastic fight, and what patience we had from several of these players holding back their heroic abilities to just drop them at the perfect moment in time and then get the kills. They go for 3, get the additional lead in experience, have 7 kills against 4 now, and they're hoping for that Dragon Knight as well. Absolutely fantastic setup right here. And now we're having the Storm Talons in play, but Masquerade at the bot lane is trying to prevent the Dragon Knight for now. Alright, Tai is already moving straight into the middle. Tyrande is back down, and yes, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it for sure. He delayed it a little bit longer, but he wasn't able to deny it completely. Tai moves in, gets the Dragon Knight on Zeratul. Damage output 60,000 on Sylvanas. She's nearly drawing even with Vala. And we're having 41,000 also for Zeratul. Yeah, but with that said, 10s are now, or 20s are ready on both sides, which gives us the fortified bunker. Also, we're having the wind tunnel now. And a little bit more action around Svala with a Farflight Quiver, as they are starting to take control. Mid lane has already gone down. They move down to the bottom of the map, which is a traditional lane to try and take the core. So there's 3 camps on the map focused onto the bot lane. So it's the one that you can push the strongest. And the Siege Giants are already behind them. And they're going to try and grab this one, but the Dragon Knight is already down to 50 HP, even with the help of Sylvanas. They break through the wall though, and they're gonna look for kills. And if they can find a good entomb, a buried alive now against any hero, that might just be the opportunity that they need. Already we're seeing ETC on level 20 with the Bolt of the Storm. He's not the only one. We're seeing the same for Sylvanas. And they're poking against the Keep, and the Siege Giants are still there. Keep is starting to fall pretty low here actually. And now Leo is making his move into the back line, but the Keep is falling. There's a Catapult, there's Siege Giants, the Dragon Knight too, and now they're moving away from this. They're trying to maybe even force the fight here. Blessed Shield misses! Tai! Nice reaction on his part. Good move from Mosh fans to try and force that fight here, but that's obviously a cooldown that was important for a potential battle, so they need to be careful with this. But 7 kills against 4 is still looking pretty good. The Quasar is also at the top side, dealing with the wave that has been pushed in. It's a fantastic first game, I mean seriously. This is exactly what you want from a grand final, a nice back and forth, a lot of 6.5 out of 10 moments that we had right there. Clutch calls. Both of the teams playing well. The aggression over here, ETC buying a little bit of space, and that's a camp taken. But you can already tell that washed fans are sitting there and saying like, maybe we could take that battle. I mean, they're currently looking at Storm Shield and Blinded by the Light, so it's definitely 2 talents that you don't want to stack them, but hey, if they coordinate that well, they have a lot of sustain during any of the team fights. On top of that, you drop the fortified bunker. I mean, you're in a great spot here. So, well, another camp already taken towards the top. With the vision granted from Tyranna's Owl, Tai is still busy down at the bottom of the map. But yeah, everybody else is sitting in the middle. So Tai knows he's safe. Tai knows that he is safe right now. They have the vision, and therefore they know exactly where the opponent is positioned at this point. It's a little bit of a weird one. I mean, again, if you are, especially Granit Gaming, 1 good and 2 might give you the kill that you need. Or you can just try and push the agenda by yourself. But there's another Dragon Knight being announced soon. Likely the last one of the game. 20 minutes in, that's definitely an option. Then again, you can defend against those bad boys. Keep is, or Fort is taken at the top lane. But there's still a structural advantage for Granit Gaming, and they have obviously a stats advantage too, through that additional level that they hold right now. Henning takes the camp now finally, as they're going for the next one. I mean, it drops experience into your hands, isn't as crucial anymore on level 20 as it is before that. But here comes the control attempt over both of them. A little bit of space created, but contested just in time. Yeah, if you can't contest that, then someone can sneak the Dragon Knight in the middle. But he went in just in time, and now obviously the question, who is going to get some kills in? Tai is also pushing out the mid lane, so that is really helping too, since it is going to push another catapult closer to that wall. And we're 21 minutes into the game. Catapults are hurting right now. Catapults are a problem at this point. And mid lane is going to experience exactly that, because this catapult is going to do quite a lot of damage, as you can already see over here. Yeah, it might not get the keep, but it is definitely significantly going to take down that particular tower here. And so if you escort a few more catapults as time continues, maybe towards the top, then you can play the exact game there as well. Tai already sitting very, very tight here. Completely hidden at this point. Very patient at this moment. ETC obviously has stage dive, so he can sit at the top lane without any problem whatsoever and start dropping a few of these. And the pressure is really on Washed France right now. And they realize that too. I mean, Tai is actually sneaking in that particular spot at the bottom of the map. Banana Age is now moving in. And is ETC stage diving mid lane? Yes, he is! He is! And... oh, he gets it. He actually gets it. Tai is in trouble and is rushing away, but look at this perfect entomb. Copenhagen, what did that guy have for breakfast? Seriously. Zeratul goes down, but the Dragon Knight is already on the way towards the core. It's unbelievable. They're trying to stop the town portals right now. Down goes Tyrande, and at the same time, Nick, is he finally falling? No, he gets another kill since the Ancestral has hit, but the Dragon Knight is on the move. Are they going to finish the game? They're definitely going to try. The portals are finally there, or they are coming. They're moving back 50% on the core. Leo goes down as well. It's all on Lauber, and he finishes it. Game number 1 taken by Granit Gaming with fantastic play in the late game on Dragonshire. Map number 1 goes to the blue team. Battlefield of Eternity, everybody! Game on! As Granit Gaming has taken the lead in the best of 3, they won the 2-0 victory in the grand final. But Wash France looked really good. Last game was pretty fantastic, honestly. I mean, the late game decision making was great. Using the global of ETC to push out the top lane, having the focus then on the bottom from Wash France as they're attempting to force a fight at the keep. Zeratul completely hiding, sneaking in the shrine just barely with a stage dive of ETC into the middle, getting the Dragon Knight, and then obviously also the entire team pretty much sacrificing themselves just to prevent the town portals, the Hearthstones, from being used on the side of Washed France, so that they could not just defend in time. They couldn't defend the core in time. They had no chance of moving back. Every single time they tried, they were interrupted. So incredibly well played here by Granit Gaming. But it was an incredibly tough game too. Washed France played so well there, and you gotta give them credit. This is exactly what I mentioned in the draft of game number 1, that they are just improving week after week after week. And it really seems like for Granit Gaming, it's going to get a lot harder to win these series. But again, as we're heading into the draft for map number 2, we're having on Battlefield Chromie banned out, so the sandwich these days a little bit more respected. Chen also getting banned. If you love your backline, ban Chen. The triple panda is just too much of a problem if you are running squishies. This is obviously a map where Hanzo, Vala are huge heroes to be picked. Could definitely be the choice from either one of the teams. Could also be banned out though. I wonder if they're actually going to ban Ty's hero again. And well, Tracer would be a good one here, of course, too. And Malfurion gets banned. Malfurion once again banned out. Henning is probably not going to be too sad about that. Henning's hero pool mainly Tyrande, Rhaegar, Malfurion these days, I'd say. So, let's see. What do we have from them now, though? We had a bit of a focus onto the offlaners in the last game, where Rexa was even banned, but this time it's Vala that they're getting rid of. So far, so good. And yeah, I mean, Nick did a fantastic job on Vala, and she generally is just very strong with the arrow build on this map, and the repeating arrow in particular gives her massive value on the Immortal race. But what's the first pick? Are we going to see Hanzo taken again? Or a little bit of a different opening now for Washed France as we're heading into the first one. It's Hanzo. Honor! Alrighty. The guy with the bow goes straight in. And what are we going to see for the other team? I mean, at this point, you could again talk about ETC. ETC is really strong on Battlefield of Eternity because you can attempt to get opponents stunned out by the Immortal with a good power slide or a face melt. And it's generally a comfort pick for them regardless, so I would say ETC is part of it. Together with that, we see Li Ming. She's just great. Li Ming on Battlefield of Eternity is awesome. You have the continuous poke the entire time in a stalemate, in a standoff position there, where you can just shoot away. The only opportunity, or the only options that your opponent has, is to either let the damage go through against the Immortal, or soak it then with the heroes, which eventually is obviously going to deplete their health pools and trigger a fight and an outright attack by the opponent. But here comes Rhaegar. And we have Johanna. Okay, so they again go for Rhaegar. And that brings us back to the question, what's now happening with the ban on the side of Washed France? They decided against banning Tyrande in the last game. They could do it this time though. Now there are other heroes that Henning could play, but those are the top 3 right now for sure. So let's see what is actually going to be banned by Washed France. There's a Kerrigan ban. That makes actually sense. You might look at this and say like, wait a second, what? Kerrigan? Are you insane? But Nick played Kerrigan twice, just yesterday, against Nothing Changed. and he was incredibly strong with that, with his Ravage build. So right now, they're just trying to make sure that they're not falling into that trap. So that actually shows some smarts on the side of Granit Gaming. They definitely paid attention to yesterday's games, and therefore ban out Kerrigan to prevent this. Ana gets banned. They're not afraid of Tyrande, but they don't want to see Li Ming with a nano boost. Understandable. Now, with this, what else do we get in terms of picks here? Now, we still need a hero for Chris as well. There's obviously still Sylvanas out there. He already played her in the last game. This is another opportunity to show his skills on the hero if Tai stays on Li Ming. Henning, most likely with Tyrande. Mal'Ganis for the offlane. Well, most likely Lauba will switch with Copenhagen here. Mal'Ganis in the main tank position. ETC on the offlane. Henning already with a hero. And now just the question what Chris is going to take. But of course, before that happens, Wash fans need to make their own choice. And they still need a hero for Nick. They still need a little bit more damage on his part. There's still a fair amount of heroes that he could pick from. Offlane, of course, as well. Nick on Tracer with Imperious. Great skin as well for Imperious. Good one. Alright, it's Tracer time, everybody. Tracer comes in. Nick playing with her. Going up against Tyrande and Li Ming, ETC, you need to be a bit careful, but what is Chris gonna pick? What's Chris' hero right now? Are we gonna see Sylvanas again? Is he gonna deviate away from it a little bit? Battlefield of Eternity is the second map, could be the last map in this grand final, of course. And it's hammer time! Oh, Granit Gaming dropping the hammer, likely actually gonna switch Tai onto the Sergeant. Well, we'll find out. Either way is fine. Both of them are fantastic on those heroes. And we're heading into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Battlefield of Eternity coming up next year at the HeroesHype Premier Series Grand Final. Game number 2. Granit Gaming is in the lead, boys and girls. Henning on Tyrande, Chris on Sergeant Hammer, Copenhagen on ETC, and Lauba on Mal'Ganis as Tai is playing Li Ming in game number 2. On the right side of the map, though, in red, we have Washed France with Hazops on Hanzo, Nick on Tracer, Dequaz on Imperious for the offlane, Banana H on Rhaegar, and Masquerade on Johanna. So, kinda hyped for this one. This should actually be a really nice setup. I mean, first of all, again, the importance of ETC here. Now, I've been going over this already a lot, but ETC is a pick that keeps them flexible. You can play him in the offlane, which is what we're going to see in this game, and you can play him as the main tank in a composition, what usually means that Lauba is going to take care of the hero. But in this particular setup, they actually picked ETC as so often early, and then decided to put him into an offlane position, so that opened up Lauba for Mal'Ganis for even more control here. The important part about ETC on this map is that you are trying to play on the defense around the Immortal stuns that the Immortal drops the circles, so you can try and push an opponent into that real easily. And obviously, ETC is a hero that can create space. That's one of the reasons why we oftentimes see him with Vala and with Sergeant Hammer. It's a similar picture. Whenever there's a coordinated effort against Hammer, if ETC is close and didn't just YOLO out his abilities but holds a few of the cooldowns back, he can push the opponent easily away from Hammer and therefore create some space and an escape opportunity for the hero. And having Hammer in the setup is going to be a really big problem for especially Nick. Like, Tracer is fantastic when it comes down to dodging skill shots. You have so many mobility abilities that you can use that it's quite easy. What you cannot dodge are auto attacks, and that's a huge problem. So if you're going up against, let's say, Reyna or against Sergeant Hammer, it's oftentimes difficult for you to dodge out on all that damage, and if you don't have a Malfurion with you in the team that can drop the heal over time, you might be in a bit of trouble there. That's one of the reasons why we're seeing Hammer in this setup. Another hero that is a little bit tricky actually for Tracer to deal with can be Tyrande, which might at first look a little bit counterintuitive because she is a low HP hero that Tracer can start to hunt down. But the one thing that you shouldn't forget is that also Tyrande can be dropped, can drop the Hunter's Mark onto Tracer, which makes her a lot more vulnerable to all the coordinated attacks, and then you have the burst damage from Li Ming too. So a couple of things to really consider here while we're heading into the first few minutes of game number 1. When it comes to the talent setup, we're having again the Laws of Hopes already taken here. We're seeing actually Tracer at the top side. I highly doubt that Copenhagen is going to play this too aggressive, but the stun didn't even connect from Dequaza. Copenhagen with nice play here and juking that out. and therefore no problem for him. If you get the launch connected, then you are in a tricky spot as ETC, because the problem will be that Tracer pretty much rotates immediately down to the bottom of the map, and since you lost hit points in the early game, it means that it is for your opponent much easier to win the 1 versus 1. But it seems that Washed France is trying to go for a different game here, simply because they say our 4-man isn't really strong enough for this. 4-man is a little bit too tricky to go up against this hammer composition with everything that is rocking down at the bottom of the map. So instead it's like, let's play a 2 and 3 split and try to hold this at the bottom of the map as long as we can, but get some value at the top too. And just look at Chris. Chris is absolutely not in any way impressed by this aggression. He just simply goes for Rhaegar, nearly drops him. Same is true with Johanna. The two of them have to be careful. And you just compare the damage done to the wall at the top side and to the bottom. And you immediately can tell that the red team is suffering a lot more in the early game. Now don't get me wrong, Washed France is doing damage. But now there's the continuous poke from Tai that Johanna has already started to soak up here. We're having even more of a move by Granit's hammer. Chris is moving farther forward, trying to drop the wall and everything. They dropped the entire gate, and up at the top ETC is still defending everything. And that's the only thing that he has to do. He just needs to make sure that these two heroes are slower in their approach than what happens at the bottom of the map. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So this is a really, really nice setup. But yeah, the question is and remains, what is France going to do to bring this back? That's a pretty big one. Already the setup down here to create a little bit of time and space for the camp to be taken. So now they have a camp pushing and hammer, and this is going to hurt now. I mean, there was even a rotation of Imperius and Tracer down to the bottom of the map as they were considering to go for the camp here, but that didn't happen. So now as the objective spawns, we have two heroes already rotating towards the Shaman camp. But I can tell you, the red team is in a bit of trouble now. They will be able to defend this because the Immortal is spawning and they send obviously their own heroes over to the Shaman camp, but the pressure in the early game is something that they will have to deal with somehow. And so far they've done a decent job. I mean, again, they're not too far behind. They've lost the wall, but they've done some damage topside as well. But it is going to be difficult if this style continues. So they have to try and see if they can break through this eventually, maybe with the help of Imperius. Already Masquerade getting pushed back here, but also the attack against the Immortal itself. So there we have it. Everybody starting to jump in. Hammer holding the bot lane against Johanna. And with Hammer actually at the bot side, it also means that she is going to try and protect the Shaman camp here a little bit longer. Everybody else is going for the, pretty much only for the Immortals. And this is more or less an even race now. It's a good shot calling that we're seeing from Washed France here. Now Chris has to be careful too that he doesn't get flanked too hard. ETC is now trying to deal with the Shaman all the way up at the top. But it's a race. They're going for a big race here. Tyranda's helping out with that too. And it seems like the blue team is going to win the first one. Or are they? Yeah, they... No, they are not! What? How exactly did that happen? The shield glare of Masquerade must just have hit at the perfect moment in time. It's actually the red team that wins the Immortal with 110 points on the shield. That's insane. Against Hammer, Li Ming and Tyrande, Hanzo just making it possible, going into the serrated arrows here. Yeah, he got the last shot through, but that was an incredibly clutch call there. Unbelievable. I can't actually believe that that just happened. Yeah, but they really want it. Now, they're not going to get enough out of it, I feel. At least it seems like they're going to be barely breaking through the wall here, but it could have been so much worse if Granit Gaming claims the first objective. Not bad at all. Hanzo's burst damage was exactly what they needed there. Nicely done. Yeah, well, and towards the top side, there's now Kopenhagen as well. Again, sliding through. His off-lane presence has so far been incredibly strong for the team. With both on level 7 now, we are on the other hand talking about the Hava Siege mode. Interestingly enough, on level 4 we are again seeing the regenerative biosteel. That's something that Chris has already played once in the past. Didn't go for the siege tactics, which we usually see there. So a slight difference from him. But yeah, nicely done. That was a really good coordinated effort. I like the way that Washed France is currently dealing with all of this. Still, there was obviously a little bit of luck involved winning the Immortal the way they did, but there was also a lot of good decisions that are being made. A Masquerade trying to interrupt and also delay as much as he can on the auto attacks, the split that they made previously, and then the coordinated effort there with the immediate rotation. And at the end of the day, it comes down to Hanzo and his cooldown. Is the cooldown back in time for him to add another salvo to the damage? And that's exactly what happened. And therefore, no Immortal. But at least no Immortal for the blue team. The red team was pretty happy about this. But as it stands, the game is still dead even. There's not a single kill yet. Not a single kill at this point. So we're starting again with our 4-1 and 2-3 split on the map. But as the Immortals are spawning again, they're already attempting to fall back from this. Not a single fort has fallen. 6 minutes in, no kill, no fort eliminated. But it's time to shine again. Oh, and Nick is actually eating a lot of damage here. Yeah, trying to make the play a little bit against Lauber, but Nick is careful. Lauber too. Stuns are still coming out. It's a defensive position on the blue Immortal that we're currently looking at. In terms of the damage output, we can have another quick look at that. 13,000 for Hammer, 13,000 for Hanzo now too. At the top side, we're still seeing ETC sitting tight. Look at Hazops though. Hazops is really, really low. Especially in, I mean, a lot of these guys don't have a lot of mana. Well, mainly Hanzo, that is. So he needs to retreat. But Li Ming is already fighting at the top. Tai is not looking at too much of a big mana pool there either. So has to be a little bit careful as well. Johanna again with the attempt to at least get some damage pushed through. But it is a very interesting setup here. And Koopman knows that he's a little bit too far out. But is able to... Nah, he doesn't dodge the damage. And that's ETC just getting shit on. ETC down. They're trying to at least go for the defensive position now down here at the bottom. That was a nice attempt against him. I gotta say, Copenhagen did everything right after he overstayed. He went for the slide just as he should, was trying to also juke out Dequaza, but Imperius this time didn't open himself up for any problems. Now Tyrande is down too, and this is getting problematic. Level 10 abilities are there, they're going for Hammer, that's another kill. From 0 kills to 0, we went to 3 kills for Washed France. Nicely done. Great setup from them. Both teams now with level 10, but it's halftime. And with that, we're having the reposition of the Immortals as they're moving to the left and right. And it seems like we are going to have another attempt by the red team to go for a bit victory here. So yeah, they want to force game number 3. And guys, it is looking better and better and better for Washed France here. But then again, they did a fantastic job in game number 1. And it was the late game that really belonged to Granit Gaming with some of the decision making that they made there. So now we're actually looking at this point also at Shaman camps claimed on both sides. There's the damage again against the Immortal. But the blue team is ready. They're ready and they're looking for a fight. And maybe with Chris they have now a chance to pull that off. Hovering Siege mode is moving the Hammer slowly forward. Trying to get that done here. In the meantime, the top side has been attacked again as Copenhagen is sitting there. Hanzo Ops with his Hanzo plays. Oh, the stage dive comes in. And Copenhagen not going for the slide right away. The arrow misses. Hanzo not connecting it. And neither does Dequaza as he's going in for the lunge. Trying to get another stun through, but can't quite get that done. A lot of heroics being used here by Granit Gaming, but we have Washed France moving in, and they still hold on to the Ancestral Healing, and in addition to that, they even have the Blessed Shield for a setup. They are taking damage on the bot lane, though, so that fort is suffering, but to be fair, up at the top lane, we see a similar picture, but over here, it's only the minion wave. Still the attempt to get at least some damage done. Continuous poke that you're seeing from Tai here, obviously added to that too. The fort barely surviving as the Shaman gets taken out. But here in the middle of the fight, the attack against Lauber. He's about to fall here as we see the attack from Tracer. Nick nearly gets the kill, but Lauber survives, and now the Immortal is open. Yeah, Lauber survives, but the Immortal is taken. And this time it's a big shield that we're talking about. Now we're talking about roughly 55-60%. They are looking great. Washed France is looking great here, and they immediately move down to the bottom of the map at this point. So, yep, with this, we are having actually a really good setup for a potential fort to... I mean, again, this should be the first fort. Unless they get a quick kill right now, this is going to be the first fort in the game that actually falls. That was a good damage setup against Tracer, though. Nick lost half his HP there. Oh! Hanzo Ops is getting murdered. Tai coming in and absolutely shitting all over him. Yeah, Hanzo is gonna need a lot of time to clean that out of Hanzo's beard. Because at this point, Li Ming just took a big bad dump on him. Nicely done right there. So, yep, well executed. So, with that said, the rotation towards the top from the red team to try and at least get another 4 tier destroyed, as the Immortal at the bottom of the map is eliminated slowly but steadily from Sergeant Hammer. Uh-oh, Banana Age is also a little bit low here. Oh, Chris with a long distance hammer ult from all the way down here. Talking long distance ult, that arrow connected. Hanzo gets the arrow done, and that's the end of Li Ming as Nick comes in for the final blow. Nicely done. I mean, seriously, they're just all over the place now. 1 kill against 4, level 13 talents are in. What a setup. What a setup here once again. But it's unbelievable to me that the ult from Chris actually connected with anybody here. I mean, he basically shot it cross-map. That was quite nice. Okay, but either way, at this point, when it comes to the damage output, we're having 13,000 for Sergeant Hammer. Li Ming on 26,000, by the way. Tracer, also. Looking quite powerful here. And there's the level 13 talents for the blue team. And the attempt to immediately put them to the test. Nick also rushing across the map again. Nick has been really busy, moving across the map, trying to get kills in everywhere, a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there, waiting for his opportunities. But now the top is pretty much forced into a 4 versus 3 fight for just a few seconds. But they're getting another camp. I mean, ETC the entire time just attempting to play it as safe as he can on the offlane, not really falling for too many of these rotations where they're trying to gank him, but just holding on to the experience for them. They are level behind though, and I honestly feel that this Immortal is a little bit do or die already. It is a important one. You've lost 2 in a row now. You kind of need to win the 3rd one, or at least ensure that it's not going to be a big shield that we're talking about here. So it's going to be quite important for Granit Gaming to make an impression, especially since they don't have too much time. There's level 15 already on the board for Washed France, so an entire 1 more level, and they're going to have 16 talents, and that's something you just can't afford. So it's an important position for them. Damn! Hanzo with a not so simple geometry here. Dropping hammer nearly low, and talking about dropping hammer, that hammer got dropped pretty quickly. Washed France with coordination that is just absolutely beautiful here in this game. And this time Granit Gaming has a tough time recovering from it. Yes, once again the Carrion Swarm as Lauba is trying to survive, but this is problematic. Ford at the top lane has fallen to the camp that was taken by Washed France too. They won game 3, and they're looking great for game 3. Here comes the attack against Lauba, and Lulba is about to go down. Or is he? He might actually escape this. Look at Tyrande. What a fantastic stun here to shield Melganis from damage, and she actually gets that done. Ford at the bot lane is also eliminated. That's a big wave that is marching now towards the keep, and that's exactly the reason that they quasi splitting off the rest of the team to help out here. Halftime show is already going over to Washed France though. They take the 50% here. And now the attempt from the red team to make a difference, but especially with those heroes at the bot lane, 16 talents are already. Level 16, ladies and gentlemen. The big advantage. There's a quick race attempt that we're seeing with the help of Tyrande, and it's definitely dropping the Immortal quickly, but it's not dropping it quickly enough because Washed France is ready. Arrow against Hammer. Here comes the stun. Here comes the ult from Tracer, and another quick kill against Chris. Chris is down, and the chase is on as they're trying to go for Lulba, for Copenhagen here, and for the rest of the team. Can't quite get the kill in. But yeah, this game is not looking good for Granit Gaming. It's more and more likely that we're going to see a 3rd map here, unless Granit somehow pulls off an incredible miracle and starts a fascinating comeback here. Is this going to be one of those 6.5 out of 10 moments, or is Washed France just simply dropping the hammer, making sure that they're getting the victory in Battlefield of Eternity and forcing the 3rd game? That's the question. So right now, they're currently starting to move straight towards the top. All of them, by the way. I mean, Lauba was trying to flank here. Well, not flank, but secure the flank a little bit. Can't really get too much done. But this is going to be the big one. Talent advantage, 6 kills against 1, 2 levels ahead, big Immortal, and they're starting to move towards the keep, and they should at least get that. I mean, keep is the least that you want to get out of this one. Hammer, obviously, a bit of an obstacle. Yeah, Koopman again moving away. Already the BFG being used. Chris has to be careful as he's moving slowly out of harm's way here. But that keep is suffering, and it's suffering a lot. So is the Immortal, but it should still be enough to at least drop the inner ring here. And they're going to get it. Can they get a kill? That's the question. Hanzo and his arrow, they connect. Keep is down, and now they are likely to fall back here. They're on their way to level 20. The keep is down, and well, all that's really left to do here for the blue team is to wait for the next Immortal and then fight with 16 talents. And 16 is obviously a bit of a game changer. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not only do we see Celestial Attunement, which is absolutely amazing against this setup, especially to save Sergeant Hammer, who has been a big focus point here for them. Giant Killer, another big talent for them, and also the Mirror Ball. So there's definitely a huge amount of damage potential. And they want these fights. Granit Gaming, they want these fights right now. These are the fights that they can actually take on even talents. They need to fight them soon. Blessed Shield comes out. They're trying to go for tie. Nick is low and Nick is down. Nick is down and Henning survives. And that's exactly what Granit needed. Hanzo's getting value out of the choke point here, but it looks like we might get another kill here. There they go for the Quasar. Ooh, and they can't quite make it happen. Yeah, it was close, but they are not able to get the second kill in. And Tai moves away just as Hazops goes in again with a big attack on the Scat Arrows. I mean, Hazo's sitting at 51,000 damage. He is absolutely killing it. Those close quarter fights are obviously fantastic for him too. Now Koopman is the one that is trying to get the experience at the top side, but getting that one kill against Tracer was definitely what they needed here. It helps them a lot with this. So right now we're having Immortals actually spawning again, and camps are taken for both of the teams. The shield on the core is attacked a little bit, but mainly because ETC is more interested in taking those catapults down, which is exactly what he should do. Like in a lot of these cases, you don't need to take the entire wave down. The core is going to take care of that. You need to eliminate the catapults on the other hand. That's the important part. But now the Immortal is up, and well, this is pretty much the last chance for Granit Gaming. Can they come back, yes or no? They're taking down another catapult at the top side. That's an important one. We're still having the position at the bottom of the map. And here's already our setup to go for the defense again, as we're seeing washed fans getting ready for the battle. 20 is too far away. 20 is too far away, but they have level 16 on both sides and still a lead in stats thanks to the level advantage that they're holding here. So now they're starting to go straight in for it. And we'll see what they can actually pull off with this little setup. The last kill bought them a little bit of space on the map and also finally a decent position here to move out and push these catapults out, which was really helpful for them. But it's only a setup. You still need to deliver on the big one, and that's the big fight right here. The poke is already in and they have a decent position. Once again, Hammer with the Giant Killer trying to get the damage in. There's the setup with the arrow. Arrow connects. Celestial Attunement is out immediately. The full-on focus for Chris, and he goes down again as Nick finds his target. ETC is dead too, and this looks like a cleanup job now. Lauba is getting attacked as well. He should be falling here eventually. Is trying to escape, but Rhaegar is already on the job. Is going to get the bite in. Yep, that's the end of him. Up at the top, we're seeing Tai fight for his life and nearly dropping Masquerade, but the level 20 talents are now in for them. And that's all that they need. They have level 20. They can go for the halftime show. Honestly, at this point, they could just go for the core. I think it was definitely something that they considered here. But with Li Ming still there, they don't go for the play just yet. But considering how far ahead they are, they could have made the play for the core here right away. But they're going for the safer option. Already the move of Johanna a little bit farther down here, trying to push out the minion wave at least. Yep, gets that in. Saves the catapult for a little bit longer. That Immortal is going to be massive. Absolutely massive. Alright, so with that said... Especially, I mean, Nick getting the kill again. Even with the Celestial Attunement on Tyrande and everything else that Henning tried to do in order to keep the target alive, Hammer still fell. And Hammer was killed 4 times here. It was a great setup. The coordination of Washed France is just on a different level here. There's the Bullseye connecting. Storm Talons now finding some value as they're pushing the waves out already. Let's not forget about the top lane, which is another problem. But they're now at the bottom of the map as they're starting to engage here. And we're seeing the Immortal already coming in. They're trying to force the fight past the Immortal right now, which makes a lot of sense. Blessed Shield is out. They try to go for the kill. BFG is in. Koopman needs to be careful as the Immortal stun is about to drop him. Dodges it nicely though. Lauba trying to get the backline isolated. Where's the slide? They go for Banana H and they get the kill against Rhaegar. But ETC is dead too. ETC dies, the Immortal drops their keep. But with this situation, they might actually be able to hold on to the game a little bit longer. They might be able to hold this. Yeah, they're going for that Immortal, and the core is definitely going to suffer some damage, but they might be able to hold for just a little bit longer if they can keep their heroes in play. There's the stun against, well, for now, Imperius. Lauber's trying to create some time, some space. Nearly gets the kill in, is incredibly low, and there's the kill against Imperius. 40% on the core, though, and it's not enough. It's just not enough. It's game. Washed France takes game number 2 and forces the 3rd game in the series. Game number 3. We are going the full distance in the grand final right now. Granit Gaming against Washed France. Great performance in game number 2 from Washed France here. Really well done, actually. So that was a pretty solid setup that they had in the last game. And the coordination with which they targeted specific heroes were pretty amazing. I mean, honestly, the way they took Hammer down several times was just insane, considering how close it was. I mean, multiple times we had Chris nearly escape, and then the final hit comes in. That just shows the synergy that I've now highlighted multiple times from Washed France. And that synergy that comes with time, because if you just look back 2-3 weeks, it didn't exist on that same level. Now, the respect ban against Johanna, since Granit is finally done with Wit playing that hero, Masquerade playing that hero, but we're also in Infernal Shrines, so Diablo is something you need to be careful about too, because Masquerade kind of made a name for himself on Diablo in the first season of Division S. Vala getting banned out, that is actually not really a big problem. And there's the Kerrigan Ban again. This is another map where we have had Kerrigan played by Nick from Washed France. So Granit Gaming definitely reacting to that. Now, keep in mind that there is obviously still the option for a lot of mages that we haven't seen previously to be played here specifically. I mean, Gul'dan, for example, comes to mind. A hero that offers a lot of good AoE damage that you can use. Junkrat can also be played, gets the damage in from outside, a few stacks for them too. As Chen is getting banned here. So we can definitely see a bit of a deviation away from picks that we've seen in the previous games, just simply because they would work well for the map here. Another hero that we've already seen, but could see here again and should see here again, is actually Leoric, because he is just great when it comes to the shrine value. And also level 20 then. With this now, we're having Hanzo as the first pick this time for Chris. So that's another one that he can use here to drop them down. And I gotta highlight also the Hanzo plays from Harzops on the last map a little bit. He had so many connects where he did an enormous amount of damage and did really well here. So the entire team is just excelling today. And they brought Granit Gaming to the 3rd map. The question is just simply, can they win it? There's again Rhaegar, and they pick ETC away. So this time they actually take the ETC pick away from Granit Gaming, and that is one comfort pick eliminated. And they still stick with Rhaegar. I mean, Rhaegar has been a constant for them. There's Leoric. Ah, Ice Giant. I still like the blue tint a little bit better if they're going into the Viking style. Especially if you're going into a Snowflake Mound. Doubloon works really well with it. Or you can go into a blue carpet. Looks pretty good. Malfurion, as he wasn't banned out this time, is getting locked down by Henning. And this is a good map for Malfurion too. You can use the roots to lock down all of the entrances towards the shrines. But you also have Tranquility available. Unless your opponent uses something that you want to lock down completely. With ETC already taken, Diablo gets shut down, so he's eliminated. And, well, what are you banning out against Hazu and especially Nick at this point? You can still ban the offlane. I mean, Leo has already been taken, so if you want to ban out some of the offlaners, that would definitely work. And they're actually banning Malthael. So let's see what we're going to get for the main tank here. If you're going to see Lauber again on Mal'Ganis, he loves to play Mal'Ganis, and he played him a lot on this map in particular. Or we could see something along the lines of Garrosh too. But with the 2 picks coming in for Washed France, they are starting to really solidify that draft and come back to the final picks here. So what are we going to get? Is Hammer, for example, an option? Hanzo played a lot here, but no, it's Chromie. Chromie and Rexa. Chromie and Rexa getting picked here, so the offline is already secured for them. We're having Chromie with also a lot of range damage, and the only question is what Hanzo's going to pick. And as I said previously, he played a lot of Hammer on this map. We've seen Hammer in the last game, are we going to see that again? That's the question. And then of course, what's the front line for Granit Gaming looking like? There's the Mal'Ganis pick as already announced. Tai They could pick Hammer too, but it's the Tracer pick instead. Ty pretty much just looking at it. Nick threw down the gauntlet in the last game and said like, hey, my Tracer is going to just rip you guys a new one. And now Ty is sitting there and saying like, hey boy, if you pull that off, I can do that too. I'm going to show you how it's done, my friend. But there's still Hammer looming on the horizon. What's Hanzo going to do? What is Hanzo going to pick here? Is it going to be Hammer time? Especially against Tracer, or a different setup for them right now? And it's Phoenix. Auto attacks are in, but Phoenix for them. Phoenix Chromie for Washed France as we are going into game number 3, the final map in the best of 3 series here at the grand final of the HeroesHype qualification tournament. Granit Gaming against Washed France, the conclusion. On Infernal Shrines, as we have on the left side, Henning on Malfurion, Copenhagen on Leoric, Ty on Tracer, Lauber on Mal'Ganis again, and Chris on Hanzo. And over to the right side of the map, we currently see Hazo Ops on Chromie. We're having Dequaza on Rexa, Nick on Phoenix, Banana H on Rega, and Masquerade on ETC. Yeah, it's an interesting choice that we're having there. I mean, actually, if you think about it, they could have gone into a dragon on this map, the red team that is. For example, just choosing Alexstrasza would have been great here for them. Instead, they decided to go into the Sand Gnome, which has seen a lot of play just recently, but then again, you always have to consider, do you really want to round with a Gnome if you can just go for a real dragon and not just something like this pretentious little thing? It's an honest question that has to be answered eventually, and I don't know, what do you guys think about that? But either way, we have Rexa all the way up to the top right now. Dequaza is sitting against Copenhagen on the lane, and both of them are just simply watching grass grow right now. Nobody really wants to engage or do anything there. But outside of that, we're having the Arsenal synergy already taken for level 1 for Phoenix. A little bit of action down here as Chromie gets her first stack together. Yeah, the little sandwich is attempting to get some solid damage in, and with a second stack acquired, she might have a shot at completing the quest earlier if that trend keeps up. So, yeah, we're having Nick and Lauber currently in the mid lane. I mean, again, it's the early game, right? You want to go for the camps, that's pretty much the one thing. The question in the early game is traditionally if someone is trying for an invade, if maybe the teams are fighting over the camp at the bottom of the map. But at this point, not quite sure what we're going to have with this. So yeah, Banana H and his boys are moving in. Hazo Ops right now also sitting there and starting to fire away. But the blue team has sniffed it out. Not really that it was very hard or anything. The question is, are they actually going to make an engage happen? They're starting to go for it, and Banana H is a little bit low. Ty isn't there yet, but he is going to be there soon. And Chris got an enormous amount of damage onto Rega. Nearly a kill against Ty on the other hand, but they steal the camp. Nicely done. No kill yet, but Granit Gaming is able to take the camp away from their opponent, grabs the experience, and also gets a little bit more push in the lane as well. I mean, either way, we're having the shot still fired here. Leo is already making his rounds, making the rotation between the top and the middle. The janitor is this time not in the house, but again, that skin is also a pretty nice one. Hunter-Gatherer for Rexa and Misha, so gonna work on the globe stacks here, with Chromie now going into the chronic condition. Plus the once again the first time has been picked here too. Honestly, looking at a lot of the talent names that we're seeing for Chromie, I personally think that the Sand Gnome is actually just very, very confused. And that is not really what you normally want to have here. But a good temporal loop can be fantastic, and that's more or less what I want to see from her in this game. So, yeah, we're currently having in the middle of the map the first shrine announced, well at the bot lane. Little Gnomie is already with a proper greeting active and is going to rely as much on the slows as Phoenix, for example, will. That's where especially Rega comes into play. And oh, baby! Lauber is getting murdered here. But the mobility of Mal'Ganis keeps him alive a little bit longer. The reinforcements are close, though, as we have 3 moving in from the top. But the head start goes to Washed France. They're looking good with this one. They're starting to jump straight in for this. Yeah, Masquerade with a slide, and Lauber goes down. Lauber goes down. The bat is dead. Well, that was not the opening they hoped for. They win game number 1. They look strong there. But it was a close one regardless, and now Washed France has the momentum from their victory in game number 2 and carries it right into the third and final game of the series, as they are about to claim victory on the first Punisher, and that is going to be an Arcane Punisher there as well. Okay, up to the top on the other hand, having Copenhagen already pushing straight through this, and there's Leo starting to make his play as well. The Chrome stat at the bottom, firing through as they're attempting to at least burn the wall down. The bait over the wall helps to annihilate the Punisher a little bit quicker here. Level 10 is soon going to be ready for the Gnome, and we're going to see how she's going to fare with that. Honestly, at this point, I'm just having a lot of fun calling Chromie a Gnome because the thing is, people get so salty, especially in the YouTube comments about it. She's a dragon! You don't understand! She's a dragon! Yeah, and if you just make a little bit of fun out of it, you tilt so many people. It's honestly funny. Like, every single time there's a Chromie play, the YouTube comments afterwards are fantastic. There are just too many lore nerds out there that get completely salty if you deny that she's a dragon. And I honestly don't think she's a dragon. I mean, screw her. Seriously, Alexstrasza can transform herself into a dragon. If we ever get Deathwing, then we get a dragon there. Even Arthas is more of a dragon than Chromie. Here's Syndragosa. What does Chromie have? Nothing. Exactly. You have that one spell that she tries to fire out, but that makes her a dragon wannabe, but that thing is not a dragon. I mean, seriously. Where are the dragon spells? Where are they? There's even, like, there's nothing. The build that's being used, everything, she throws sand around. That's all that she does. She's basically a little kid that is just in a bit of a sand pit and is trying to throw sand around the entire time. She's on a playground. A kid on a playground. That's all Chromie is. Trace, on the other hand, whew, she's doing work, and so does Hanzo. Hanzo with a quick hit right there, and the kill against Rhaegar after Phoenix has fallen as well. Well done, well done, well done. I was just saying that it's starting to become difficult for Granit Gaming as they're starting to lose some ground here, but then they turn it around with a quick double kill after they lost the objective. So nicely done. Very nice done. So with this now, we're having, again, heading sitting tight. Masquerade is already moving away from this. And up towards the top, Copenhagen is already making his little move on the offlane. Leo is a little bit of a weird hero. I mean, half the game you're just sitting between lanes and you're trying to take minion waves down, and then once it goes into the team fights, it's pretty much the entomb that you're good for. Even if you sacrifice your life, you're fine there, but Copenhagen has shown such incredible entombs in game number 1 that I really want to see what he can pull off in this game, since this is usually more so where you see entombs in the team fights themselves, and he should be able to get some value for them. Now level 10 is ready on both sides, which gives us the Purification Salvo. Again, no real surprises here. I would still expect Malfurion to go into Tranquility, but even Twilight Dream might be an option for them. But for now, they're actually just murdering the bottom of the map and taking this entire thing down. So, yep, up to the top. There's Nick and Dequaza starting to push this through. And yeah, in the middle of the map, Lauber is burning another wave down. There's no level 13 that they can reach, just trying to get the experience through here. ETC has the mosh pit. That's a little bit of a concern. That's honestly one of the moments where especially Hanzo needs to be cautious so that he has still an option to get the arrow connected. It's a bit of a weird game of chicken that they're going to play here. Hanzo Ops at the top side. Lauber is already a little bit hungry here, wants to go for the sandwich, but Hanzo Ops moves down to the bottom away from the shrine, so there's no need for Lauber to come back through here. Timeout taken, which actually just enforces my little kid on the playground theory. I mean, Chromie is literally getting a timeout when she's nasty. And, well, at this point, we're having the lead again for Washed France. They're doing fantastic on the objective. They're doing great here. There comes the slide. Ty is looking for a victim at the side, and Chris is just firing away. The setup again from Lauber. And also a really nice healing ward positioning here from Banana H. He keeps himself in the back the entire time. He knows that he would be a primary target for the opponent. But they are on 28 stacks against 19, so the blue team is doing a little bit better. Tranquility indeed has been taken. Lauber low goes into the Carrion Swarm here and has to really retreat a little bit to make sure that Henning can keep him alive. There's the salvo, there's the timeout, the time trap, and Mal'Ganis gets wrecked again. Up to that point, Granit Gaming did fairly well here, but it is now getting dicey again. It's 2 kills against 2. They're still a bit ahead in experience, but they lost another objective. Washed fans, I tell you, these kids are really strong here. I mean, after the original team changes from Washed Up, we really saw them struggle against Granit Gaming, and it looked like the time of dominance of Washed Up was finally broken, and Granit Gaming was the top dog in the Heroes of the Storm scene in Europe. But it seems like Washed France is starting to really get a hold of this game and the synergy that they need in order to keep the tradition of the team up. They're getting the kills in now. They get the 4-2, and they are just looking great here. They won the second game. They did a good job in the first game, even though it was Granit Gaming who eventually walked away with the W. But now in game number 3, it's just an ultimate back and forth that we have between the two of them. 13 talents are going to be a little bit quicker at this point. And there we have it. 13s are in. And that gives us again the Earth Shield. But also on the other side, 13 isn't waiting too long. But another nice steal on this one. Kopenhagen going to walk away from this. With the Ominous Wraith now ready. Ooh, got stunned out for one moment. Looked like they might be able to follow this up. Chromie, by the way, on 32 stacks on her level 1. So soon going to get the additional Playmate. That can help her a little bit. To build her little sandcastles there. We're also seeing Nature's Swiftness now taken. Malfurion might need it, actually. The additional movement speed is going to help him to move out. I'm still curious what happens around level 20 if it ever comes to that. Because so far the two teams have really just seen eye level in every single fight. And if 20 becomes an issue here, then the Buried Alive is a game changer. Lauber, then again, he is always getting focused. The arrow misses. Leo is still at the top, by the way. Like, he's not even here. He is just gathering experience for them. Down at the bottom of the map, we have a 6 versus 4 if you count Misha, and you always should. So they're already starting to jump in, but the fort is about to be eliminated. Leo is finally moving out too, but in experience, they're still ahead. Down at the bottom of the map, here comes again the attack against Lauber. The fort is down. Lauber in trouble. They're trying to take him apart, and he actually dies as Chromie comes in and completes her quest. So now we're having another attack. Oh, what? Nick survives. The Ancestral goes through during the warp, and so does the damage from Tracer, and he survives the entire ordeal. That's actually insane. 4 kills against 2, 2 forts down, structural advantage for Washed France, but Granit Gaming holds on to the experience, at least 4 now. Can they bring it to 20? One of the big questions here. Chromie by now on 22,000 damage, Phoenix on 29k, Nick again just absolutely destroying. What a fantastic assassin player here. So down at the bottom of the map, 15, that's the level now for Washed France, a slight lead in experience for them. Will it lead to a talent advantage? It's unlikely, but they might get the level 16 just a little bit quicker. If they can force a fight around it, would be great. Mal'Ganis is getting bullied. Mal'Ganis is getting bullied here. So with 3 deaths already, even though he uses his ult continuously in order to keep himself alive a little bit longer, it's a problem. And oh, that timing for the shrine is actually going to be interesting. I honestly expected it to drop a little bit later, and now we're going to have 16. I guess they're going to get their level in time, but there will be a lead for Washed France. They will have a lead here. Shifting Sands is in. Hunger of the Wolf. The aggressive shredding again too. And now they need to try and go for 16 as well. Leo is for that reason still sitting at the top lane. Hanzo is at the bottom of the map. Yeah, Wave in the middle gets eliminated, but they're already going for the race. 8 stacks, nearly 10 stacks. There's the 16 now finally. Chris is moving away. They're getting their abilities, and that means that especially for Mal'Ganis now, we have also the additional damage out. Royal Focus is in, and Lauber is starting to take position, but 20 stacks have already been acquired by Washed France. They're looking great here, they're looking good, they're looking strong. Top lane gets pushed too. Here's the attack once more in the middle as the blue team is trying to take the spot. They lost 2 Punishers already. They want to win the 3rd one. There's the Entomb, but there's also the Salvo. The Salvo does work. Carrion Swarm has been used as well. They're going for the backline against Tracer. Ty barely getting out. Gets the quick heal from Henning. Has the Tranquility up. And Poreloop, the stun from Chris. A good connect here from him. The slide through Leo, and what a fight, what a mosh pit. No interrupt there. Hanzo goes down, the Mortar Punisher is taken. Lauber is getting dumpstered on, and they are not even able to kill Misha. There's the still warp forward against Tai, and they are moving through the bottom of the map towards the keep. Top lane still getting a little bit of value here. The keep or the fort might even fall. Leo is moving back, but with 6 kills against 2, Washed France is looking great right now. The attacks are coming. Can they finish the game? They will definitely take the keep. There is absolutely no question. The keep will fall. The question is, can they take the game? Copenhagen is low. They're waiting for Hanzo. He's going to be back in 5 seconds. The continuous poke around the edges, but still the Immortal on 80% HP, and they're going for it. Washed France was behind. They want the victory. They want the title. They want to win the tournament. Chris is low. Misha is on the chase, and Rexa takes Hanzo down. And that should be game right there. Washed France with a fantastic comeback. They're going straight into game number 3, and they're dropping Granit Gaming and establishing themselves once again at the top of the European Heroes of the Storm scene. GG and well played as Washed France wins the tournament.